The Uganda Cranes return to action at the Nambole Stadium this weekend, 366 days since their last Africa Cup of Nations qualifier there. They do host Malawi in Group B, hoping to earn one of the 24 tickets available to Cameroon 2021. Not to forget, there are 22 other slots available to the Cameroon finals 2 years from today, and we'll be discussing some of the key fixtures on the continent that do come up later on this weekend. It is the international break as well across the other countries, as in Europe, the big guys will hope to wrap up the slots and qualify for Euro 2020. Not to forget, in Saudi Arabia, Brazil entertains Argentina in the international friendly, and in Brazil itself, Lewis Hamilton will hope that he can be able to add the icing to his cake as the Formula One comes to a close. Welcome to the Just Darren Show, powered by Betway.
Betway's Fortune Score is back and better than ever. Play our weekly soccer predictor where you can win your share of an amazing cash prize each week. Simply choose the first goal scorers in 4 selected matches and submit your selection before the first match kicks off. Entry is free, and if the prize isn't won, it'll roll over to the following week. Bet your way with Betway.
Now, it's been quite a busy week for the Uganda Cranes. First, they had to play Burkina Faso on Wednesday night away in Ouagadougou in the opening match of the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. Now, the qualifiers do continue this weekend with the Cranes still in Group B, hosting the Malawi Flames this weekend on Sunday at the Mandela National Stadium. It is the first game that the Cranes are playing in Nambole since they defeated Cape Verde by 1-0 on November the 16th, year 2018. Now it is 366 days later, or a year totally, since the Cranes played in Nambole. This time around, the Cranes managed to make it to the last 16 of the Africa Cup of Nations. Malawi wasn't there. Malawi last featured at the AFCON back in 2010 in Angola, finishing 11th out of 16 teams. And the other previous appearance at the Africa Cup of Nations came back in 1984. Now, for the Uganda Cranes, on the other hand, they've featured at the Africa Cup of Nations for now 7 times, including the recent attempt at the 2019 edition in Egypt, where the Cranes went as far as the last 16. They were eliminated by eventual finalists Senegal, and after the result in Ouagadougou, they do host Malawi, hoping that they can pick 3 points at home. Now, I had an extended interview with the Uganda Cranes coach, the new one, Mr. John McKinstry, him saying of how the Cranes would love to play a Liverpool kind of football, and that deals with the Cranes not only winning possession, but winning it in a smart way, utilizing the ball and moving to the front to supply the forward players. Like in the starting 11 that the Cranes had in Ouagadougou earlier on this week, Patrick Henry Kadu starting at the front together with Emmanuel Okwe, with support coming in from the midfield from the names like Abdul Lumala coming off the flanks and Farouk Mia as well supporting the forward line. Now in the midfield, you still probably expect the same faces in Mike Azira as well as Khalid Awucho in the holding midfield role. At the back, there could be some changes, but it's likely to remain the same with Bevis Mugabe at right back, Joseph Ocha at left back, and then in central defense, Timothy Awani together with Murshid Juko, and the captain, Dennis Onyango, in goal. Onyango has had a bit of a blip. He had an error in a recent encounter in the PSL back in South Africa for his club Mamelodi Sundowns, but he should be up for this one as the Cranes hope to pick maximum points in the race to Cameroon 2021. Now, you can't bet on this one on www.betway.ug. I've got one huge feeling that the Cranes will be going out for a huge result. I expect them to probably win via handicap. They already have that win. But also, if you don't go and guard your bet, you could actually go for the Cranes to win 2-0, even 3-1 is possible for the Cranes to pick all the maximum points on Sunday at the Mandela National Stadium. Now, Malawi come here on the back of a 1-0 victory at home in Blantyre over South Sudan. That goal that came through from Gabadinho Bango, who managed to get them the victory on the day 1 of the group. That was early on this week on Wednesday. And of course, the Cranes are my favorites to go through in this group, probably to top it, despite the fact that Burkina Faso are in the frame. Burkina Faso this weekend will be traveling to take on South Sudan in Juba. You can bet on all the matches, not only in Group B, but also the other groups that we'll be discussing right after this break at the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. The site is one, www.betway.ug. Good luck to the Uganda Cranes. Fly high.
Jimmy really likes hard work. Really. It's how he gets better at what he does. It's how he learns. It's how he impresses people. And it's how he knows United are worth it this weekend at 3.2. Oh yes, Jimmy really likes hard work. Because hard work sometimes pays off.
Now, still talking the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers, match day number 2 across the different groups. In Group F, the hosts actually of the 2021 edition, Cameroon, have already qualified, but they will be away in Kigali taking on Rwanda, and that game comes up on Sunday, with Rwanda hoping that they can end the thirst for continental football since 2004 in Tunisia. Of course, Rwanda did host the CHAN event in 2016, making it to the quarterfinals with the current Uganda Cranes coach, Johnny McKinstry. But of course, a lot of water has gone under the bridge, and they would love to make most of the home advantage to qualify like the way the other East African nations did: Burundi, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania at the 2019 edition. Now, talking the other fixtures still this weekend, in Group G, on Monday, it is Kenya who do host Togo in Nairobi. And of course, Kenya, their first group game was against Egypt away from home in Alexandria. Of course, they are mainly banking on the players, that is Victor Wanyama and Michael Olunga, the striker based in Japan, to be able to get the result against the Togo that for many years has relied on the man, Emmanuel Adebayo. And of course, moving on Tuesday in Group J, Libya do take on Tanzania, and that fixture, of course, Tanzania hoping that they can get something. Their striker, that is Mbwana Samata, has been on form in Europe. He scored for Genk against Liverpool in the UEFA Champions League, the first goal ever by a Tanzanian in the competition, and he will be one that they will hope to rely on, just like they did at the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations in Egypt. Of course, Tanzania did not go far, but they would love at least to qualify once again. These were Uganda's opponents in the qualification route last time round. Tanzania actually beat the Uganda Cranes 3-0 back in March at home to secure qualification at the final minute. We'll wrap it up with another fixture, that is Zambia who do take on Zimbabwe. Now, these are two neighboring countries who do face off, and this one in Group H still on Tuesday, with the Chipolopolo hoping that they can return to the continental stage, having missed out at the 2019 edition of the tournament. Now, of course, the Chipolopolo opened up the qualification against Algeria away from home, and Algeria are the defending champions in this particular tournament. For Zimbabwe, they hope that as well they can improve on their finish at the recent tournament in Egypt, where they were actually in Group A with Uganda Cranes, Democratic Republic of Congo, and the hosts Egypt. But Zimbabwe shockingly finishing fourth after only picking a point against the Uganda Cranes. They lost to Democratic Republic of Congo in the last encounter that they did play back in Egypt. So many fixtures across the board right underway from Friday, where Ivory Coast do take on Niger in one of the last match day one fixtures on the continent. You can't bet on these ones. The odds are available on www.betway.ug.
We're giving you the chance to boost your multi-bet winnings by up to 100%. To activate your boost, create your bet slip, check your boost, and place your bet. It's that simple. The more selections you add, the bigger your boost. Visit Betway online now. Betway, for the love of the game.
Now let's talk Formula One, because Lewis Hamilton is already the world champion after winning the title in Texas. Despite the fact that he didn't win the race, finishing second position was just enough for him to seal the title. And he's on course to equal the record for the most number of titles in Formula One history. Michael Schumacher has 7. Hamilton is just 1 now behind him. And he hopes that if he can only stay any longer for 2 or 3 more years, as the Mercedes car does dominate the Formula One championship, he should be able to surpass the number 7. But the party will continue for Hamilton this weekend, and it is the carnival atmosphere that welcomes him in Brazil for the Brazilian Grand Prix this weekend. Well, he's not favourite to win, as in the drivers' pool, not many have won more than twice in Brazil. Well, except Sebastian Vettel, who won twice with the Red Bull and once with Ferrari back in 2017. And he's struggled, by the way, to perform this season. This is one of the key races that he will need if he's to seal a position and at least probably move above 5th where he is, because he's currently on 230 points, 5 points behind Max Verstappen, who is in 4th from the Red Bull with 235, and of course he is 14 points behind Charles Leclerc, who is 3rd with 249 points. And in 2nd place is Valtteri Bottas, who's sealed that with 314 points, and at 381 is Lewis Hamilton, who is already the world champion. So this weekend will be about sealing places, putting the icing on the cake for Hamilton, but for the other drivers, they will be hoping that they can push for more. The race between position number 3 and position number 5 between the 2 Ferrari drivers and 1 from Red Bull. But you can't bet on the drivers who finish in the top 3. The odds are available on www.betway.ug. Hamilton to finish in the top 3 and make the podium once again, his odd is at 1.20, and that for the driver Max Verstappen at 1.25. For Sebastian Vettel, it is at 1.80. You can as well bet on the fastest lap, which team will win the constructors title in Brazil, and as many as those which driver will finish ahead of the other. You can place all the bets available on www.betway.ug/the go to motorsports, get to Formula 1, and then you'll be able to select the Brazil Grand Prix, the other rest of the season. Well, the other odds available include cricket. You can talk the esports as well. The odds are available on www.betway.ug. We'll take a break. When we return, we'll be discussing the international football once again, talking the Euro 2020 qualifiers and the international friendlies.
Betway's Sport to Score is back and better than ever. Play our weekly soccer predictor where you can win your share of an amazing cash prize each week. Simply choose the first goal scorers in 4 selected matches and submit your selection before the first match kicks off. Entry is free, and if the prize isn't won, it'll roll over to the following week. Bet your way with Betway.
Now the Euro 2020 qualifiers do wrap up this weekend until the end of the international break next week, and already 6 teams have already qualified before at least kickoff on Thursday. That is Belgium, Ukraine, Russia, talk of other countries like Spain were already through, and 6 slots are already taken. Now of course there are other slots that are left to be fought for, and some big giants like England hoping to qualify. Of course, very little mathematics against Montenegro and the other match that they will have to play in their Group A. But the pick of them comes up on Saturday in Group C, where the Dutch are top of their group with 15 points. They are tied with the Germans on 15, but there is a small bit to sort, that is Northern Ireland, who are 3rd on 12 points. Now across all the groups, the top 2 teams qualify automatically, and the Dutch and the Germans could kick out Northern Ireland mathematically on the field this weekend. That is, if the Dutch are able to win away in Belfast when they visit Northern Ireland, and the other side, that is Germany, goes on to beat Belarus at home. Now of course Germany beat Belarus in the previous encounter 2-0, and Serge Gnabry on the score sheet for them. In the other one, the Dutch beating Northern Ireland 3-1 at home, and of course names like Georginio Wijnaldum on the score sheet. And the man who has made the headlines for them most in this particular qualifier, the striker, that is Memphis Depay, formerly of Manchester United, currently at Olympique Lyon, with 6 goals to his name in this particular group. Now going into this weekend, these are 2 teams that I think will go on to win, to just send out a statement to their opponents ahead of the finals next year, and hoping that both the Dutch and the Germans are able to win on that one. The odd for Germany to win away from home is at 1.05, pretty low, and that for Belarus as high as 28.49, implying you can walk away with 28 million if the Germans are shocked at home. But well, they'll be in Mönchengladbach, and I highly doubt that they'll be dropping this one, and I actually feel the Germans will be sending out a statement. They've made a few changes in the squad, of course letting go of the old guards who won the World Cup, that is 5 years ago, and of course a fresher side to talk about, and hopefully one that will really compete for the silverware later on next year. For the Dutch, the odd for them to win away from home in Belfast is at 1.38 on www.betway.ug, and that for Northern Ireland at home at 7.11. Now, of course, the other matches, they will be wrapping up the different groups at the weekend, including England, who will be visiting Kosovo with their odd at 1.64. France, who will be away taking on Albania with their odd at 1.26. Iceland away in Moldova, also my favorites to win away from home, their odd at 1.34. Northern Ireland do take on Denmark, and Denmark have their odd at 2.07. Now, why should we leave the international break without talking the big international friendly that will be played in Saudi Arabia, in Riyadh, where Lionel Messi is expected to return for Argentina for the very first time in a space of 3 months since he was suspended by CONMEBOL, which is the Confederation of Football for South America. He was suspended after his behavior when Argentina did exit the Copa America when they lost to Brazil 2-0. And guess what? Messi is back to face the same opponents again. The old rivals Brazil and Argentina face off this weekend on Friday. It is a fixture that will see Messi return after 3 months layoff with that suspension. Brazil do not have their talisman Neymar because of a hamstring that he suffered in the previous international break. However, Aston Villa's Douglas Luiz has been summoned for this one, together with the young man that is Rodrigo of Real Madrid. He's been summoned following his hat-trick recently in the UEFA Champions League. Now, of course, when you look at both of these teams, the last encounter they had, Brazil managed to beat Argentina 2-0 and progressed to the final, winning the Copa America. Argentina would love to revenge for that, but Brazil seems to be trying to put up a run in this one. I think Messi will try and put out a statement. He's been on form recently for Barcelona, tucking away every free kick that he's got in the recent fixtures for the Catalan side. But in this one, it will be a different ball game. It is the odd rivalry from South America being played in Saudi Arabia. Brazil's odd is at 2.35, and they are actually the favorites, with Argentina having theirs at 3.07. In the recent encounters both of these teams have had, well, Brazil has managed to win 46 times, Argentina 39, and the teams have drawn 25 times. Who will be winning this one this weekend? My gut feeling is it could likely end in a draw between these two teams, Brazil and Argentina. It is that will put a wrap to this show yet again. Special thanks for watching the Just Darren Show. Check it out on YouTube. You can put in the search engine and search for my name, subscribe to my channel, and be able to watch all the recent episodes and the current one that we do have for you. Same on Facebook and Twitter. Not to forget Instagram. And remember, it's just Darren.